How can you announce a fight when you've got a fight planned? It just doesn't make sense to me. It's a bit unfair on Ngannou.
This is Jonathan Agger of Fifth Pro Boxing Fans, joined by Nisse Sauerland here in Brighton. We're here for the first press conference for Harlem Eubank, headlining here on November 10th, live on Channel 5 against Timo Schwarzkopf. Nisse, it seems like this is the moment Harlem's been waiting for to headline back here. He knows about the history of the place. How long has this been in the works for you guys as a company to headline Harlem here?
Well, I think from the first time we signed him, we had our sights on Brighton. It's a lovely place to come, and it's also a place that's got history with the Eubanks. And people talk about homecomings. This actually is one. This is a massive homecoming. Eubank's a very popular name here, and we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, when you look at sort of the domestic scene, obviously a lot of the talk is about Adam Azim and Dalton Smith, and people are talking about Harlem, perhaps not as much as those two. Do you think this is an opportunity for people to start talking about Harlem amongst those names, or do you think, I mean, he's telling me he's looking at world names as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think both Azim and Dalton Smith are great fighters. I think that, do people know who they are? Not really, not the average Joe on the street. Do they know Harlem Eubank? Yeah, the Eubank name helps, but also Channel 5 having a couple of million people tuning on to watch also helps. And as I said before, he needs to now prove that it's not just Harlem Eubank. He's got to live up to the Eubank name. He's got to prove to people that he's not just a name, and that he's a proper fighter. And I think this is the perfect opportunity.
What are you looking at in terms of the undercard for this fight night?
There's no undercard.
Great.
Just me. We've got two really exciting names to announce, which I can't give you right now. And then we've got Tom Welland making his debut, very good amateur, and going to have a few other names, local names coming on as well.
Great. Well, that's obviously November 10th. Just moving on to another Eubank. Go on.
The Kazakh destroyer, Sultan Zerbeck.
Great fight.
Number 5 in the WBA now. Super featherweights, beware.
Absolutely. Just moving on to Chris. We saw him call out Canelo Alvarez after his win over Charlo the other day. Is that a fight that could happen one day?
So I'm not one to look at comments very often on social media. I just don't do it because it's probably not good for my head. But the comments were pretty positive on there, and imagine that was a few months ago, they'd have been negative, totally negative. But it's amazing how boxing turns on its head, and I see that as a great fight. And I actually I would love to see that fight happen. Obviously, we like Conor Benn fight as well, and there's a few other names out there as well.
Obviously, we're in early October now. The Benn fight is proposed for December 23rd. We're waiting to see what happens with the British Board's appeal against Conor Benn's licence. How quickly do you have to move with that and make a call on where to stage that fight? And have you had any update from Matchroom about that?
We've had as much as they can give us. It's a legal process. We've always got an open line with each other and give each other as much information as would be responsible and ethical. I do believe the fight can be made for December 23rd. I'm not sure where. I would like it in the UK. I think the board, it's whatever anyone thinks, this is a huge fight for British boxing. Fury going abroad to fight in Saudi, the last few fights. We should end the year on a positive, and bringing this fight to the UK, for me, would be huge.
So is there a time frame though on when that decision has to be made?
There's no time frames really from our side. We just need to get a fight done for him.
And I spoke to Eddie a few weeks ago and Frank Smith, and they said they were looking at, or they'd spoken to you guys about Dimitri Bivol fighting Lyndon Arthur. Eddie's told me the other day he doesn't think that's going to happen now. Is that correct?
Bivol pulled out. Bivol got scared. Another joke, you like that? No, Bivol. No, just the commercials weren't there. Lyndon is happy on Channel 5. We got the IBO World title, and we're going to look to defend that early next year.
Josh Kelly, any news on him?
Yeah, fighting before Christmas.
Brilliant. And just a couple more to ask you about Fury against Usyk. The contracts are signed. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I've said a few times now is that how can you announce a fight when you've got a fight planned? It just doesn't make sense to me. It's a bit unfair on Ngannou, and people have to buy into that fight. I believe it's a pay-per-view fight, so you want to go into a fight believing that the other guy can win. Yeah, I mean, does he have a chance? I don't know. Does he? He's got probably more of a chance than Conor McGregor did against Mayweather, but Fury is exceptional. But at the same time, anything can happen in that fight. You can slip and twist your ankle. You're out. You could get a cut. You're out. So saying there's a fight without a date and saying it might be on December 23rd just seems like trying to block a potential Benn Eubank fight, or not block it, sort of take away from the fans a little bit. You don't want both of them on the same night. You want to spread that out.
So and obviously there's the Ngannou obstacle to get past first, but if that is taking place on December 23rd and you're looking to stage Benn Eubank that day, is that a conversation you need to have with Frank Warren and Bob Arum, and or do you go ahead regardless?
I will take that once we know we can do the fight.
Yeah, and just finally, Eddie was saying that Fury Joshua is actually a bigger fight than Fury Usyk. Now, obviously, his job's to promote Joshua, and he's this guy. But in your opinion, which is the bigger fight commercially?
Fury Joshua. Yeah, I agree with that. But obviously, it's an undisputed fight, and Usyk deserves his shot to get all the belts. Don't forget that Bradis gave Usyk his toughest ever fight. So people do seem to forget that. He was with me ringside watching Opataya. We're excited to get that fight on as well. So there's a lot of good fights coming. The problem is we're not the Premier League. We don't have a massive organisation which gives you a schedule, so you can't really schedule the good fights. It comes in waves, and I believe we're about to have a very exciting time in boxing.
Brilliant, Nisse, appreciate your time.